So obviously, a lot of you know, Joe Biden decided to run. Joe Biden is in the race. He took him a while to finally decide that he was going to run. And I think he was initially kind of feeling the process out, trying to see where it goes. Maybe he wasn't sure, how much support he was going to get, especially from big donors and everything. So he definitely was feeling the process out. I don't know if there's going to be any other people running. At least no more big names. There's no more big names that are going to be running, I don't think. Those people have all pretty much declared. There's a couple people here and there that are just like totally irrelevant that are have decided to run, like Seth Moulton and Eric Swalwell, who's a big like Russiagate conspiracy theorist. Amy Klobuchar, Cloud Boot Jar, as Kyle Kalinske refers to her. Obviously, you got what's his name, Pete Buttigieg. He's on there. That's about it. Beto O'Rourke, who I like to refer to as Beto Obama, he is running as well. But and after a really strong kind of start, as far as in the kind of like the media landscape, everybody was kind of like fawning over him in the media. He hasn't been really getting anywhere. Yeah, so Beto was obviously running. Buttigieg is running. Like I said, Seth Moulton, Eric Swalwell. I think there's another guy named Rob Delaney or something. John Delaney, something is running. So like all these different people are running, but obviously Biden being the most prominent guy to recently run. Let's discuss that a little bit. So Biden, he obviously ran in 2008, when Obama obviously ended up becoming the nominee. Hillary was in there. Even Mike Gravel was there. Mike Gravel is a very fascinating guy that's running right now, and he's very anti-establishment, very anti-war, anti-imperialism, anti-interventionism, and he's somebody that everybody is really enjoying, and kind of seeing as a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, in a way, in the sense that he's not going to get a lot of votes, but I mean, he's going to be somebody that is going to be able to sway, if he managed to get into the debates, he's going to be able to sway the way the debates go, and if things are going to be kind of like, like what kind of things are they going to talk about? Like if you got a guy like that coming in, he's going to be somebody that can obviously, get people to talk about those issues. Like I said, stuff like stuff regarding interventionism and stuff like that. So, being anti-war and whatnot. But as far as Biden goes, he ran in 2008. He ran in 1988, and it was actually amazing because I was reading up on it, and it was amazing how quickly in 1988 he actually ended up dropping out because there was some sort of scandal involving him plagiarizing a speech or something, and he got caught for plagiarism. He had to respond to it and had to answer it for it and stuff. It was quite embarrassing, and like I don't even know how he was doing in the polls, obviously, because it was 1988. But I mean, from what I read, there was nothing about how well he did in the polls, but it was it was a very quick exit for him, and he really I don't even think anybody even realized he was in the race, honestly, back then. I mean, from what I remember from 2008, nobody even talked about him running, before. So, obviously he was in the Senate and everything, and then eventually Obama chose him as his VP, and then, honestly, when he ran in 2008, I thought he was pretty decent based on his rhetoric. I thought he was a good choice as a VP choice for Obama, but that was at a time that I was just completely clueless on what candidates are sellouts and what candidates are good, what candidates are bad. I mean, that was so long ago. I was just totally caught up in the kind of the mainstream hype of all these like, Obama type candidates, as far as like speaking good and saying the right things. And Biden said the right things. Hillary, I never liked. I thought Hillary sucked from the very beginning. No matter what she did or said, she was just horrible. But yeah, Obama at the time, obviously for a lot of people my age, my generation, Obama was the guy that everybody liked. And Biden was kind of like the old grandpa that's like looking over him and kind of like guiding him in certain ways. And unfortunately, now that fucking grandpa wants to run for president. And it's fine if he's old. I really don't have anything against him being old. But the fact that he is a big time sellout, he pretends to be really like, I'm the union guy and I'm the guy that's gonna be standing up for regular people. Like, he doesn't do that shit. That's not the way he fucking operates at all. Like, he's just a total he's a poser, he's a poser, he's a fake. He's not somebody that you can actually trust, but he pretends to have all that kind of like grassroots support. And like, I don't know, I think there was like an interview or something, or like some kind of quote coming from him. He's like, yeah, I'm just as progressive as Bernie Sanders is. I can show my record, and if you look at my record, it's just as good as Bernie Sanders. But then maybe if it was in that interview or another interview or something like that, he said, yeah, I'm not a progressive, I'm not a democratic socialist like Bernie Sanders. I don't think the 500 billionaires and millionaires, or however many he said, that are that are out there that are, I don't think they're the problem. So the guy is he's totally out of touch, and he's totally trying to cater to like all these specific people that he knows is going to help get him over the top. And so according to his fundraising numbers after he declared running, let me just check that real quick. As many of you know, Bernie Sanders raised $220,000 within the first 24 hours. So apparently, like, that's a big figure that they're going based on, like within that first 24 hours. They try to go based on like how much money that person raised within the first 24 hours, and Bernie Sanders said it initially in 2016, raising $1.5 million, which completely obliterated Hillary's fundraising numbers back then, which I don't know what they were, but it was much higher. I wouldn't be surprised if it was much higher than hers. And then, and then this time around, Kamala Harris declared before Bernie did, and Bernie. So she, I think, ended up getting like around 1.7 or 1.8. I forgot, around 2 million or so. And then Bernie beat that by getting 5.9 million. So now it's kind of been like a race for like, who's going to get the biggest amount? And a lot of the other candidates haven't gotten anywhere close. So Bernie did get 5.9 million. It was reported when Beto O'Rourke declared, he ended up raising, I think he raised, he was 6.1 million or 6 million, somewhere around 6 million. And he actually he raised 6.1 million and outraised Bernie. But the difference was, first of all, he didn't want to declare, he didn't want to tell people how much his campaign had raised within that first 24 hours. So after the first 24 hours, people were asking him like, how much did you do? How well did you do? And he didn't want to say. And he literally got asked it. He got asked that, and he just declined. He was like, I choose not to tell you. I choose not to say how much I raised. And so when that happened, it became a little bit fishy. People were like, wait, that's kind of strange. Why wouldn't you just tell people how much money you're raising? It's not really that big of a deal. If you ended up beating Bernie, you would have said that from the very beginning. And no, but it turns out he had much less people donating to him. I think he had 130,000, I believe, and then Bernie had 223,000. And Bernie's average donation was $27, which is very common because that's what he was getting last time too in 2016, and $27 per donor. I also gave him $27 as well, and then according to the article I'm reading here, Biden raised 6.3 million. Yeah, 6.3 million, and his average donation was $41. And I believe Beto's was 37, I think. So I'm gonna have to check that. But yeah, so and then the individual the number of donors Beto O'Rourke had was 90. I'm sorry, that Joe Biden has one was 96,000. So almost 97,000, 96,926. So, and it also says that's how many people donated, contributed, and 61% of donations were new and did not come from the pre-existing email list. So my prediction was so same with the same case that happened with Beto O'Rourke, happened the same thing with Joe Biden. They both were not able to reach the individual limits as far as the individual donors that Bernie had. So they had to go to one of their best buddies and their rich friends out there that can give them a bunch of money. And then since they knew they couldn't beat that, okay, well, we'll beat Bernie's thing, going over 6 million, but we're not going to get as many donors. We're not going to get as many contributors. But they're to them, and obviously the media is reporting it as oh yeah, Joe Biden outraised everybody, and he did better than everybody else, and he's got 6.3 million, and Bernie has 5.9. Yeah, but don't you want to point out that do they ever even bother dealing with the average donation from every donor, and then the number of donors? No, because they know that's going to go against the establishment narrative, and they know that's not going to, it's not going to look right, because it's going to go against the person that, it's going to go against the candidates that they want to win. They definitely don't want Bernie to win, obviously, as everybody knows. So they definitely want these kind of candidates to win. So they just kind of gloss over the number of donors. They gloss over the average donations. They're yeah, 6.3 million. Great job, Joe Biden. Awesome job, Gropey Joe over there, And so let's go into that. So I don't know, what was it, a few weeks ago, less than a month ago, one of the former I think she was a staffer working for Bernie, but she had also ran in 2014 for the Senate seat in Nevada, and Joe Biden had come and come to Nevada to campaign for her, and her name is Lucy Flores, and she a few weeks ago she released wrote an article, and she talked about how Joe Biden made some what she felt were sexual advances on her, and she put that out there, and people just flipped out in the establishment. People, the typical kind of Democratic establishment, Democratic loyalists, the people that are just out there on Twitter who are just pro Hillary, pro Democrat, talking about smearing Bernie and stuff. They were oh my God, this is you couldn't say this to him privately. Why did you have to come out with it publicly? Yeah, it's so easy when a woman gets touched and groped and felt by some old dude, especially let alone the vice president of the United States, as if it's so easy for this person to just come out and, first of all, say it in private. Why would you want to say it to him in private? Why would you even want to do that? What difference would it make? Oh yeah, you really made me feel uncomfortable. He's probably going to just tell you he's probably going to laugh and tell you to fuck off. In so many words. He's probably not going to take it very seriously, though. So for anybody to really think that Lucy Flores should have come out, should have done it differently, that's just ridiculous. I'm not even going to entertain that idea. But the fact that she came out with this allegation was very, very significant, because not only, after she came out with her allegations, she was the first one to do it, and I think it was 3 or 4 other women did the same exact thing. They came out and said, that what's his name, did the same thing. He felt me, on my neck, and he touched me and grabbed me around my waist. And there are many videos. It's not like it's some best kept secret or unknowns, because some kind of secret that nobody's ever heard about. Joe Biden being some weird, creepy guy. We've seen many people, anybody can tell you they've seen footage of Joe Biden, doing doing creepy things, standing there, behind somebody, putting his arm around their neck and touching them weird and doing some bunch of crazy weird shit. And it's just like, and he does this in public. And he, whether or not he's sexually assaulting somebody is not the point. Whether he's making them feel, touching them inappropriately is not necessarily. That's not necessarily the objection. Of course it is, but it's not. That's not the main thing. It's like it's not like we're saying like, oh, he's a sexual harasser. That's no, it's not like anybody saying Biden is beating women, because there's been articles that are coming out that are saying like, oh, well, who was that? Like Alyssa Milano, the actress in Hollywood. She's coming out saying, oh, he was such a great guy. He was such a nice guy to me when I met him, and I did this. And she shows a picture. She shows a picture with him. I don't know, some event or something, or I think she was doing her podcast. Oh, he's such a nice guy, and he's always shown respect to me. Yeah, okay, maybe he's a really nice guy, but with certain women, he knows. He feels like he can touch them in places, in weird places in weird ways. And even little kids, too. There's videos of that, too, which is really fucking weird. Like, there's videos of him, like, touching, like, the under breast of, like, some poor little girl. It's, like, really, really creepy. So why this person feels like they can do this, I don't know. He's obviously doing it unknowingly. He doesn't even know that he's doing it. That's stupid. He can't figure it out. But he's doing this, and somebody comes out with it. It's a woman comes out with it, and he, all of these people that honestly I don't even think they support Biden necessarily, but they're just like, oh, he's a Democrat, so they have to back him. They have to deny any, deny anything that he's done wrong, and he's like, perfectly, he's a saint, and how dare you say anything bad about him because he's a Democrat. So, and these are the same kind of people who are going to be like, oh, well, Trump does really bad things. Trump is a really creepy guy. Okay, well, that's fine. Trump can be a creepy guy. Biden can be a creepy guy. You can name any other Republican that can be creepy. But that doesn't absolve the Democrat, what the Democrat did. So the Democrat can do whatever he wants. And then and we have to overlook it because he's a Democrat. But the Republican, oh no, he's totally a creepy guy, and he's totally, anti-abortion and stuff. And it's not like there's not anti-abortion Democrats. We call them out too. So any kind of person that does something that's in people's eyes immoral and wrong, you call it out. You're not going to sit there and just be like, because he's a Democrat, it's okay. He's inherently a good person, and we're going to forgive whatever he said and did, and that's okay. No problem.